Hi, and welcome back to Craft Along with Jay. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Yara, and I am so happy you could join me today. Today's video is part of the Crafting Our Way to Christmas finale, which is hosted by Claire's Creations Part 2. And everybody who has co hosted with her or done videos with her in the last couple of months are all co hosts for this video. Our guest host, I should say, and those include Simply Blessed Crafts, myself, Craft Away with May, Sunflower Tasha, Z9 Designs, Rustic and Lays, Lolly D's Creations, DIY with Aria, and Fidget DIY. And make sure to check out everybody's channels that will be listed out in my description box and check out the playlist as well. All right, for project number one, I am going to use these leftover mini boots from, what is that holiday called? St. Patrick's Day. And I'm going to go ahead and paint them red. We're going to make them into little Santa boots. And I'm using Waverly's chalk paint in crimson red. And I'm going to dab it on because I don't want any streaks at all. So I'm going to dab it on with a little makeup sponge and I'm going to give them both three coats. So I give them one coat, let them dry, give them a second coat, let them dry, and then give them a third coat and then let them dry again. And that's going to give a nice, good coverage with no streaks. And they're going to look pretty mighty good. You'll see in a second. And there we go, all done. Then we're going to go in with apple barrels black paint. I'm going to use a fine tip brush and we're going to go ahead and paint in the soles of his boots. And we're going to go around the edge at the bottom all the way around on both boots. And I'm just doing this one coat because it's black, so that is giving very good coverage. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and start making that little belt buckle that goes um, around the boot. And I decided to have mine towards the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead with the fine tip brush and make that all the way around. You can make it as thin or as wide as you want. Um, I went thin at first because you can always add more. It's harder if you add too much to kind of scale back because then you got to go back in and paint with the red. So I started with a thin, but then I went a little bit wider because we still have to make the belt buckle as well. So I do what I do to one boot, I'll do the same thing to the other. And then I'm gonna go in with Deco Arts metallic paint in splendid gold. And we're gonna go ahead and make that little buckle here. And I have an even finer tip brush for this one. And I'm just gonna do the width of the black belt. And then I go make a fine line along the edge on top and the bottom. And then I'm gonna come right back down and then we're gonna make um that little what is that called? You know that when you have a belt, you got that little metallic thing you put in the loop. It's the best way I can explain it because I sure can't remember what it's called. But we're gonna make that here. So when I do a one boot, I'll do the same thing to the other one. And see right here, this is why it's coming in. Just like so. And then once they're good and dry, I'm gonna come in with some floral foam. And I just got a bunch of scrap pieces. And I'm just gonna pick out two that seems to be fitting right into the boots without much leftovers. So we're making good use of any scrap pieces that we have right here. And there's not much that's left over, so that was two perfect pieces that fit right in there. This one was a little too long, so we just scrapped some of the top pieces off. And then I have a little piece of this fur got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to fold it in half and then cut it. Um, so we have one for each boot. We're just going to cut it straight down the middle. And then we're going to go ahead and glue it around the top of the boot. And I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue. So first I go around the top, here, and then as I'm going around, I'm going to do a little bit on the top and also a little bit further down so the whole piece is attached to the boot. And I'm just working in sections right here. And then I'm going to work all the way around the boot. And now remember what I do to this boot, I'm going to do the same thing to the other boot as well. So it's a very good fit. We don't even have to cut anything. It fits perfectly. Or maybe I did have to cut a little bit. It looked like it was a little bit too long. And then I got some berry picks right here. And we're going to just cut them off the stem. And then we're going to add them into the boot to kind of spruce them up. And these are from the Dollar Tree. And I'm playing around with it. I'm gonna put a couple in each boot right here. And this is part of a stem I think that I got. That could have been from the Dollar Tree, or it could have been Walmart. I can't remember. It's from one of those two places for sure. And yeah, I'm just playing around with the placement, adding a little bit of both in there, kind of filling them up. And that's it. That's all there is for this one. And I think these Santa boots turn out absolutely adorable. Let me know what you think. So here they are, a little bit of a close-up. And I need to switch the boot around. I kind of like not the right place, so I got to switch them over. I didn't catch that till I saw it right now. Okay, so for project number two, I got this wood plank from Hobby Lobby at 50% off. I think it was like $3 or $2.49. It's a half off. And then I also got this stencil from Amazon, nativity scene. First thing we got to do is paint um, the wood square with some nautical blue. And we just need to give it one coat. And I'm also making sure to get in the little crevices right here. So the whole thing gets a good coat. I think it's a very pretty blue. And then I'm going to go ahead and tape down my stencil, and I want to make sure it's not going to go anywhere for me. Um, there's nothing worse than it starts moving around as you're stenciling, and it just puts everything off and doesn't look right. So even if I have it taped down, I'm still going to hold it down around the images so that way it doesn't kind of come up when you start stippling down with this sponge dabber. So I'm just going to hold it in place around each image so that way we're not having any bleeding. And then I'm just doing a little bit. My sponge is not too wet, but I will go in like 2 or 3 times to add more color. But this is just to help prevent bleeding. And then once I've gone over it once here, I'm going to go in with a little tiny brush and I'm just going to add a little bit to the crevices because the sponge didn't go all the way down there and I didn't press hard enough because then, we can create some bleeding. So I'm just going to go in with a little brush to get in there. And I give it a coat or two more after this. And then once it's all dry, we're going to remove the stencil and the tape. And it turned out so nice. I just love this image. Look at it. Isn't that pretty? And it's so nice in that blue background. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It went really well together. And I didn't want to do too much to it. I really want the focus to be on the nativity theme. So I didn't want to do too much, but I did want to add some of that rickrack ribbon around the edge. And this is the little tiny one. There's one that's a little bit thicker, but this is the smallest one I could find. And I thought that would go really nice around the edge right here, just to kind of outline it. And I'm just going to go around the whole perimeter right here. Just hot glue it down. And then once I've done that, I'm going to use the same rickrack to make a hanger. And I'm just coming in from the back here. And I'm going to pull it up a little bit so I have the length that I want. And then cut it. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. And then we got ourselves a little hanger. Then I just wanted a little tiny bow, and it's a sheer white ribbon that I'm using right here, and I just made a regular shoelace bow and I attach it to the top, and then I'm just gonna cut the tails at an angle, and that's it. This is all there is for this one. Very simple, but I just want to focus, on the picture. I think that's so very important, of course. So there it is. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. Let me know what you think. Now let's take a look at it. There we go. I love that stencil. That's a very nice one. Definitely worth it. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to project number 3. And here I got 3 of these little canvas rectangular pieces from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cover them in Mod Podge and let it dry. Now, I only did 3 here, but I do end up adding a 4th one. And I got this rice paper that I got from decoupagenapkins.com. And I cut all 4 pieces out, and we're going to lay them on top of the little canvases here. And they're actually a very good fit. There's very little that's hanging over, and that's really just excess paper anyway. So these are like perfect fit. Then I'm going to add some parchment paper on top, and then we're going to go ahead and iron it into place. So no wrinkles when you do this method. This is going to activate the Mod Podge, and it's going to adhere the image. And it looks so nice. No wrinkles. That's the best part for this one. And here I'm just checking around the edges to make sure it's all adhered. Then once I've done all of them, I'm going to go with my little zip sander here, and I'm going to just sand off the excess around the edges, around the whole thing. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go in with some more Mod Podge and my fan brush. I like to, when I have to seal it into place, go on top of something, I like to use the fan brush because that way I do not get too much on there and it kind of spreads it out more. Because if I use a regular brush, sometimes I can get a little bit too much and then it wrinkles up the paper and it can tear the paper. So for me, the fan brush works best. And then I want to kind of outline it. So I'm going in with this little nautical rope, jute twine rope. It's something I got from the Christmas section at Walmart. And I actually love this, and you get quite a bit of it. And I'm going to go around the whole perimeter of this image, and I'm going to do the same thing. I do the same thing with the other 3. So remember, we got all 4. Then I got 2 of these giant jumbo sticks, popsicle sticks from probably Walmart. And I'm going to go ahead and stain them with Waverly's Antique Wax. So I'm going to give it a coat here on top. And then I'm going to go in with a damp paper towel and I'm going to wipe off the excess. I didn't want it too dark. I wanted it a little bit on the lighter side, so I kind of went with along the colors of the images that you see right here. So yeah, I'm wiping most of it back off. And then I'll do the bottom and the other one, and then I cut them in half, so I have 4 pieces. And then I'm going to use my L-shaped ruler right here, and I'm having 1 inch in between the pictures right here, and I'm going to add the popsicle stick to both of them. So there's an inch in between. And I do the same thing with the other 2. And I'm just going to use some hot glue to hold it in place. And then I'm going to connect all 4 of them together. Now I got a little bit confused because I was worried about the images being upside down or something was going to go around. So I was kind of had to play around with it for a minute to figure out. I just need to turn my L-shaped ruler and then I could put an inch upside, like you can see at the other angle instead. So now they're all 4 attached. And then I'm going to go in with some more of this rope and make a little hanger here in the back. And I'm using some hot glue and some masking tape to help hold it in place. And that is what it looks like. And I love these images. Look how gorgeous they are. Love, love, love them. But you got to let me know what you think about this one. So let's go ahead and take a view at all 3 of them that I made just to refresh our memory. And don't forget, don't click out yet. After this, you're going to see another piece of what I've made the last couple of months. We had to include some sort of decorations for my home, and I made some homemade ornaments for my tree that I have upstairs outside my craft room, and I kind of wanted to share that with you. And you'll see there's no lights on it, and you'll see the reason why. But it's my little tree. It's one I got from the Dollar Tree a couple of years ago, um, that I have upstairs. And I just got one of those trees just so where I can hang my homemade stuff on it, but also my cat is upstairs and he likes this tree, so I'm not going to be so upset that he's playing in the tree. And you'll see he's right under the tree right here. And there he is. So yeah, that's why there's no light on here, just so he doesn't get all tangled up in the cords and stuff. But yeah, he's my little ornament under the tree. But here I want to showcase the ornaments I've made the last couple of months and that I've added to my tree, and I think they're absolutely adorable. And so does he. That's Cedar, and he's quite the snuggle bunny. So yeah, different kinds of ornaments that I've had fun making. So I hope you enjoyed all of this. Make sure you go down to my description box and check out everybody, including their playlist. Show everybody some love. Subscribe, like, comment, hype to everybody, including me, of course. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again soon. Until next time.